book called The Property PI: How to Find Off-Market Real Estate Deals. It's very self-explanatory. And then I'm also working on another program to teach people some of the way that I have been able to acquire wealth in real estate. And so I'm teaching people pretty much how to get like 100 grand like in a day and credit, how to get business credit, how to find, fix, and flip real estate, how to manage contractors, um, how to be a contractor, everything. Like, it's an all inclusive program that I'm actually building out now, and so that'll be out in September. I'll be launching that program. So that's all that I do.
Okay. All right. Check your StreamYard feed for me because you're frozen in that.
I'm frozen in StreamYard.
Yeah. So technology, folks. So we're trying to simulcast here, and then so I may repeat this, but so anyway, I'm Curtis May. I'm host of the Practical Wealth Show podcast. So this is kind of a live podcast, and so follow me on Instagram. Check out the Practical Wealth Show. Just Google the Practical Wealth Show, and go to your iTunes and find it. Okay, you dropped off. And so what we're going to do is I want to talk about. So one of the things that we share, I'm kind of like known as the anti-Wall Street financial advisor. And what I try to do is help people get a solid financial game plan together. And we teach what we call, so I'm talking while you're getting your thing. Oh, here we go. Hold it. I see you. Save that, but you're not in. Okay. The what we're going to do is we're going to talk about. So what I teach is basically the 5 principles of personal finance. But overall, most people want to start with investing. I think actually investing is really the last step of, first step we teach is save, protect your kingdom, which is insurance, asset protection, so on and so forth. And then the step 3 is investing. But now what I try to do is when people get set up, I want to talk to them about step 3 or step 5 in my 5 principles of how to make money. But it's 3 skills to making money. You got to make it, you got to keep it, and you got to grow it. Okay. So Curtis is the keep it, grow it guy. Malik is the get it guy, right? Get the bag. and so that's what we're going to talk about. So we might just do this on because you're not on here. I see you. Are you in I'm going to re-invite you. I'm trying to let you back in, but I'm not even hearing you. Hold on. Oh, this sucks. All right, let's keep talking. Keep working on it. I don't see you, so I'll invite you in. It says hold it. Oh, wait, I see it. It's my fault. Oh, sugar. I don't know how to do that. It's telling me that. All right, here we go. I got it. Now I got you. Okay, we're on. We're live. And we're live. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Welcome to the Practical Wealth Show live podcast. So Malik, Coach Carter, and Coach is going to talk to you about basically finding. What do we title it? Say that part one more time. Okay.
So property PI, how to find off-market real estate deals.
Right. So we're going to talk about making money, so this topic is get money. Okay. How to get money, and then when you want to keep it and manage it, then you call Curtis. Right. So let's talk about that because I know you do a few things, but we're going to focus on that. I know you got an event coming up by the time this goes live on the podcast. We'll have an event in a couple of weeks, but Tell them I have a lot of people that I've got a lot of real estate stuff. So I work with business owners, real estate investors, and people that are aspiring to move up that what I call the prosperity ladder, and the asset class of choice that they like is real estate. And so there's a lot of stuff going out there, but you got to get your finance together, but then there's work to that to find opportunities to build your portfolio. So we're going to get tactical today, and we're going to talk about some of that stuff, and then some of the stuff that you'll get in great detail when you come to his event. So, Mr. Carter, Coach Carter, take it away.
So one thing, right? I understand the appeal of real estate, like, of course, as a real estate guy, but I am a third or fourth generation, right, real estate guy. So I was kind of like born into the space, but I really do understand other people wanting to be in the space, right? Because one thing for sure is people are going to need places to live, and then something else we have to realize when you think about real estate is people are not going to stop having sex. Why is that important? Because babies come from sex, right? And so as there's more population, there are more people that are going to need a roof over their head. And then, I read a National Geographic article, man. I still have it downstairs several years ago. And it was talking about what happens when the earth hits like 9 billion people by 2045, and to put that in perspective, I'm 43. In 1991, when I was in 8th grade, there were only about 5 billion people, right? We crossed over a few years, I forget what year it was, we crossed over the 7 billion number. So if you can imagine double the amount of people on earth from the time that I get to 8th grade to, 2045, that's a lot of people, right? So, and all these people are going to need housing. There's some other morbid stats I'm going to go into about how we're going to be able to sustain 9 billion people on earth. But essentially, there's 9 billion people that would need housing. And then on top of that, 90% of that 9 billion are going to live in mega cities, right? So mega cities are cities, I think, with 5 million people or more, right? These mega cities. And here in the U.S., we only really have New York City and in LA. Like those are like our two, of course, biggest cities. And so you can imagine our other urban cores in this country gaining more population. That's the Philadelphia, the DC, the Chicago, the Houston, right? We already see these areas expanding,
right.
And this is not a fluke, or people say it's a bubble. This is population growth. We have just people no longer want to commute from the suburbs. In this cycle, they're coming back into the cities, right? And so that's one of the reasons why I understand.
It's so funny because when I was a kid, they were moving out.
And now they're moving in. And if you look at it, right, if you look at other countries in the world, I like to use South Africa, right? If you look at Durban, if you look at Cape Town, the world is going to be like that, where the wealthiest people live in the core, the poor people live outside that, and then the exurbs further out are going to be more wealthy people.
Yeah.
Right. And that model is going to happen all over the world. So if you're investing in the city core, you're going to do well. Like you don't need to be a genius for this business. You just have to be involved, right? You have to, like, the majority of my net worth came from properties that I bought with no guidance. I just bought houses, and over time they appreciated. And so I'll give you one, for instance, the house I used to live in, and 10 years ago when I bought it at 51st and Catherine, for those that don't know Philly, I bought it was in the market for $77,000, and I bought it for $63,000. And right now, 10 years later, can you imagine the time where nobody wanted to live at 51st and Catherine? It's just not. It's hard to see that right now.
Yeah,
because houses in that block are going for 400 plus.
That's crazy.
And
I mean, because I remember that stuff. It's where it's like Yes, it's crazy. So if you drive, if you don't drive, if you're hearing this, we're both from Philadelphia, right? So there are areas where you would see other people that look like us will be terrified to walk through. Now they're running around, walking their dogs, and sitting at outdoor coffee cafes, sipping coffee, and it's like, what?
With no worries, with no worries in the world.
No worries. It's like running, jogging through 17th and Diamond,
Yeah, nah,
So
it's wild. And then when you look at it like legacy and wealth, I don't have to look any further than my family, right? My dad died to be 5 years in December,
mm,
and he set myself and my brother up. Like, not even talking about life insurance, like in real estate. He left my brother a property that had been since torn down, but the house right next to it sold right in the pandemic for 450. So my brother has a lot that he could build on for 200 plus, hit 200 grand. And then he also has a triplex, right? The house that I inherited, my mom's still alive, but my dad passed. She sent everything over to us. So the house that I got is the house that we grew up in. My parents bought that in 77 for $5,000, right?
wow.
That ARV in that house, right now is a single family. I got permission to convert it to a triplex. Once I do the rehab, it's going to appraise out at 1.1 million, right? From just a family house, and so this is like that legacy over time. So I get the appeal of real estate. I am a benefactor, of the benefits of real estate. And my children will also be, like, my children are going to be millionaires off the work that my parents put in. Not what I put in, what my parents did.
Yeah. So, talking about, I know we talk about this offline a lot, generational wealth and, equity happens because, you know what I mean? Because our whole tax system, a lot of people don't understand. We have two tax codes, right? One for the poor and uneducated or employees, and one for landowners and business owners. And so a lot of times as a people, we've got to start to understand the rules of the game. The tax code is designed for landowners and business owners. So we've got to stop giving away land. We've got to stop not paying attention. You know how hard I have people get foreclosed on. It's really hard you really have to be sticking your head in the sand to get your house let it go to sheriff's sale. Because there's so many. My wife is a real estate attorney, right? So you just are asleep at the wheel if you lose your house. Not to that happens because what happens, most of it's mental. We get terrified, but we've got to decide to keep that money. Y'all know I'm big in life insurance. You need to make sure even your real estate investor are listening. You need life insurance. Real estate is illiquid. You need to create liquidity for your estate. Okay. And so they go like hand in glove. They go together. But what I want to talk about, so now you want to get it and you want to be in the game. You need somebody to help you. But there's, I always tell people in any business, I always tell my kids there's before, during, and after, right? And so the during in real estate would be managing it or if you're rehabbing it, the construction, and then after be keeping it and renting it out in my terminology. But the before is in any business, there's lead generation, lead conversion.
100%.
Yeah. And so if you start breaking it out, so most people I see who do real estate, their before unit is broken. Yeah. All the wholesalers that I hear, you got to make like 50 offers to get one or something like that, and go ahead.
No, right. And talking about that process, what I tell people is you don't have a business if you're dependent on wholesalers and realtors, right? I'm never going to let another man control my deal flow.
Yes.
It won't happen, right? And so if you don't control your own deal flow, then you're pretty much leaving your business and your growth up to some person. You may fall out. He may not like you. He might choose to sell somebody else for whatever reason. He may be a hater. Your wholesaler might die. He might get locked up. He might leave the business. And then where are you? You can't even grow your business because you don't control your deal flow. Right? You do not have a business if you don't control your deal flow.
You're at the mercy of somebody else.
You're at the mercy of somebody else every time. And you could say, well, it's a million wholesalers. It's true. There is a million wholesalers. But how many of them are actually, first of all, you got to hope they didn't steal a house. Because, right, sometimes you get an unscrupulous wholesaler that might steal a house.
Yeah.
And now you don't even know. Now you're in litigation because you thought that what they did was proper. You
Yeah.
really don't know. Happens
Yeah.
all the time. One of my
Yeah.
clients bought a house on the 1400 block of North Dover in 2019. He bought the house and now he's in litigation. He bought the house and framed it up. And one of the heirs was like, no, bro, that's not your house. It's our house. And so now he borrowed money. He framed the house up. And now he's in litigation, because because his wholesaler that they had permission to sell it, and he bought it, and he was out of there, and so yes, I mean there's a lot of different circumstances. I'm not trying to paint a broad brush that wholesalers are bad. I'm just saying that you don't know who's a good actor, who's a bad actor until it's too late.
Yeah, especially if you're new, right? And you got money, and I want to get in this real estate game, and you fortunately came into some money. And I always tell people, look, just because you have money, don't mean you should do anything. Like if you understand it, you don't need to use your money, and you know what I mean. And so you're throwing money because you don't have knowledge, right? And so the less knowledge you have, the more of your money you need to use. But let's talk to them about so philosophically, we're both like this in different markets. We like control the whole process from partner. I like, look, I don't buy leads in my financial services practice. Look, I teach people, if they work with me, how to fish, right? And so what you're doing, what we're doing to this morning is give them a little, and you're going to do a conference, we're going to go into in detail. You got to have fishing lessons because there's still the markets. Let me ask you, so even people said the market is saturation a thing, or it's overheated, or inventory is not high, or inventory is tight? That's the word I hear. Is that a thing? And can you work through that even in this environment? Are there still deals out there if they kind of learn how to do what you're talking about?
Inventory is tight for newly developed properties. It's tight. Okay. If you're someone that if you want to buy a rehab or new construction, it's tight. COVID slowed a lot down. It's difficult to get material. Is that if you're okay with a fixer upper, some elbow grease, it's not tight. If you are an investor, it's wide open. Philadelphia, I mean, I'm not talking about the rest of the country, but as of right now, but just Philadelphia alone has 40,000 vacant parcels. You mean to tell me you can't find 4 this year out of 40,000?
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Right. And that's just vacant parcels. That's nothing to do with people that want to move. That's just vacant parcels. 40,000.
Yeah. Right? Hey, let me break in for a second. I am getting notes that saying is an echo on the Instagram feed that makes it hard to hear. I kind of hear. I got my volume down, and I'm wondering if we should stop the stream and y'all need to find us on go to Curtis May and look up Facebook, or go to YouTube and search for my YouTube stream. I know y'all love Instagram and don't like to leave certain platforms, but I don't. Okay. What do you think?
No. We could end the live. We could end the live. It's not a problem.
All right, so we may do it live only. We're trying to simulcast it. We got to figure out that problem.
It's fine. Yeah, we'll end the Instagram live. We'll keep the StreamYard and but it's on your YouTube page, right?
Yeah, so it'll be on when we get done. It'll be on my YouTube page. So if you just search for the Practical Wealth Show, it'll take you to it. Subscribe to it, and every time we do this, you'll get notified of when we drop something new. So let's go there. So so somebody's saying turn one of them all the way down, but we do have our volume completely off on my phone on the phone. But I still hear it a little bit in my earphones.
Now what it is I think it's probably me because I don't have a headset. If I had a headset, it might work okay, but I don't have a headset. So Either way, we're going to end it. We're going to end the Instagram, and you can go find it on the Practical Wealth Advisors. Right, YouTube, or
my search Practical Wealth Advisors on Facebook, and we're live there right now.
On Facebook. So Practical Wealth Advisors on Facebook, and it's live there. You can check it out.
All right, guys, we're going off Instagram. We'll do another one.
All right. Hopefully, it's not too bad there.
There we go. All right. Yeah, so we're good. All right, so that's what we were picking up on here. So let's I'm at that on the podcast. I'll edit some of this out. The so let's talk about finish your thought. I'm sorry to break you up. I was seeing all
No,
these
okay, that's
questions.
okay. So I'm saying
Yeah.
is like so in Philadelphia, and you could drive around anywhere and see vacancy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every city you see vacant lots, you see shells, you see abandonment, you see it everywhere. So there's plenty of opportunities. And then when you think of who still is on farms, right? Who's still buying farms? Nobody's buying farm. So if you want to develop, you can like the children of the farmers got a job. They went to college,
Right. They
or
ain't farming, right?
they're not
They're
farming.
trying to work that hard.
They're
Right.
not nobody trying to work their farm. They want to go, they want to go into the city, and work 9 to 5 rather than from 5 to 9, 5 a.m., 9 p.m. Like they don't want to be farmers. That's hard work.
Right.
As a matter of fact, even my family, my uncle that passed away last year, our family has 101 acres in Danville, Virginia. My uncle, he didn't care what happened to that farm. He was raised on. He said he hated it. He said his father, my great grandfather used to make them farm, and he said as soon as he got a chance to, he left the farm and never went back. He's
Right.
never been there again. He died. He was over 80. He left the farm in his teens. Right. And so you have that all the time. So there's plenty of land available to purchase. If you want land as rural areas, if you want a vacant lot or vacant shells, there's plenty. So if you're an investor, plenty of opportunity. If you're an owner occupant and want only to rehab, the market is tight.
Interesting. Okay. So you got to be creative. You got to look like that. Hence being a detective.
Right. The property PI, right?
Property PI.
PI stands for private investigator. That's correct. And what I teach people is pretty much, how to fish yourself. Like these are all the tools that I use in my personal business, how I'm able to find deals every day. Like just even today, I got an opportunity. They probably want a little bit much. They want $400,000 for a triplex at 40th and Spring Garden. For those that aren't in Philadelphia, that's pretty much a block or 2 blocks away from Penn's new development. That they're building 2 million square feet at 38th and Powell Avenue. It's maybe 2-3 blocks from there, and you have an opportunity to purchase that. It's a little bit pricey for me probably, but still, I got that opportunity today. I was able to. Somebody gave me a house. Guy, he had like 8,000 in tax and 13,000 in water, and it was an old timer. He said, "Here, take it." He gave it to me. Right. I was able to buy a vacant lot in my area, Kyle Street, $2,500. Once I build on it, it's going to be worth $450. And I got that only 2 weeks ago. So I'm not telling you like some old stuff. I'm telling you like things that I'm getting now. And now, like it'd be last month, I began to get like $1 million deals. I haven't closed on any of them yet, but I have in the city of Philadelphia, a gentleman lives on 2.9 acres that he wants to sell. Another one, 19,000 square feet of land, 750. Another on City Avenue, another 15,000 square feet of land for $1 million. I haven't closed on any of these, but these type of deals that I'm getting from my system.
Right.
I didn't go out to look for $1 million deals. It's just that's what got caught up in my net.
And so he said the magic word there. Hope y'all caught that. Was his system. Okay. See, systems create wealth. Okay. All wealth is a function of systems. Okay. And so too many people they say, "Oh, I want passive income. I want multiple streams of income." You need to get one stream. Okay. And you know what I mean? Start it. And most people are too all over the place. What I realize you got to do less and focus on getting that up and running. But there's a system. What do you say? Do you have a criteria of here are the types of properties I'm looking for? So we both know Dan Harvey, right? So Dan, for example, well, he's doing a lot of commercial now, but he like for a section, he only likes West Philly. I don't think that's a secret. So I'm not like
No,
messed
no,
up and
no.
stuff. But you only like West Philly. I sent him a deal in Alany, a mixed use property. It's like, you don't really invest over there.
Right.
Okay.
You know,
Which
and so
was, I was like, really? That's interesting. I didn't, so do you have stuff like that you
right.
think about?
And listen, even me, right? Like I actually put this in the book, right? My nickname is called Cows Creek Lee. Most of my
Okay.
investments are in Cows Creek. So what
Okay.
that is, Cows Creek, that's a one neighborhood. I don't even market to the entire zip code 19143. I only really work in Cows Creek. I might expand a little bit of King Sessing, a little bit over, like a block or two over, but for the most part, I focus in that one neighborhood. I don't try to attack the whole city, let alone not even the whole zip code. I only attack this one neighborhood, right? That's my personal, and I recommend that everybody, like, right, in marketing, right, it's called, there's two approaches. It's either the shotgun approach or the rifle approach. The rifle approach works better, and especially if you're on a limited budget, you will go broke trying to advertise, trying to market to the entire city.
Yes.
So I market and I have my repetition, right, with my one neighborhood, that one Cow Street area, me personally. And so what I tell people in my book and my systems is to really lock down, like really specify, what do you want? Is it a single family? Is it a multi-family? What area? If you're in a big, even a small market, maybe you do cover a couple of zip codes. Philly, listen, I make a lot of money, a decent amount of money every year, just in this one zip code. I don't have to leave actually in this one section of one zip code, right? So no, I'm not trying to. So if I it has to be an amazing deal to get me across the Schuylkill River, right? I'm not going to North Philly. I'm not going uptown. I'm not. It has to be an amazing deal to get me there. I'm not saying that I won't do it, but I'm not going to do it for just okay. Right. It has to be amazing, and also, but when I'm telling you to be specific, that doesn't necessarily mean only one area. That might also mean a specific type of property.
Yes. Right? Talk about that. Like you mean single family, multifamily?
Single family, multifamily, whether it's mixed use, whether it's hotel, you be the hotel guy. You can really focus on finding hotels, like really niche down and be like the king of that domain. And then what will happen is I'm doing a rehab right now in Cows Creek because people know me about, you buying Cows Creek, you want this one? Yes, I will take that one. Absolutely, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And I even paid a premium for it because I know what to do in this area to make the numbers work. Right. And so, like if it's a mixed use property, if it's all commercial, if you want to focus on hospitals, it doesn't matter what it is. You can stay in that space, because the numbers in Philly have changed. I have had to change with it, where I was buying houses 18,000, 30,000, those days out the window, at least in Cows Creek. And so I had to change up how I invest a little bit, but this is still my area. People are making millions of dollars in Cows Creek and Brewery Town. I'm sorry, in Strawberry Mansion, Brewery Town, and Grays Ferry, and New Bowl. They're making millions of dollars in Kensington, all these places. Right. I focus on my neighborhood of Cows Creek, Philadelphia.
So so we have a little bit of, I want to expand this out. So I have a kind of a national audience that on the podcast. So what he's talking about, so we're both from Philadelphia, so we both know where we're talking about, we know, but in your area, what I want you to take from this is there's a system. You want to have a criteria of what you like. You need to know your numbers, and you need to pick an area and not be all a type. Okay. And I call it your money rules. You got to have money rules about what you think is a good property or bad, so that now if your market is everything, or I told you in business and marketing, if your market, because I'll say, well, who's your target market? Everyone. Well, if it's everyone, is no one. Right? What's this old saying? The riches are in niches. And and so the other point I want to get across, what we always talk about on the show, is that investing is not about buying something, it's about becoming something. Right? And so Malik has become an expert, right? So for him, because he's knowledgeable, see, investing is not risky, folks. Being uneducated is risky. Okay. And so, so we have 3 rules of investing. Invest in yourself, which you do, I know. Invest in what you understand, what you can control, what you can influence the outcome of, and don't chase returns, right? Those are my 3 rules of. Most people chase returns. They start with, well, don't know nothing. Okay. I want to buy cheap houses. Well, or I got some money. I just came in at $500,000 and I want to go buy some real estate. They don't know shit. And excuse the language. And so what I'm trying to do is give them some. So let's say they have some experience, or let's say they're new, or they're moderately experienced and they're trying to get in the game, or they've got, a couple, 3 properties. And, one of the things that we teach, let me tell you why I want to have this conversation, because most people, so I'm the anti-Wall Street financial advisor, right? And so if you had $1 million in a 401k, they'll give you like 40,000, people, they'll let you do you've heard this before because I know you're into stocks, but they'll give you a 4% drawdown rate, right? Which is $40,000 a year. So, but if you make 60 or 80, you just took a 50% cut, and it's no guarantee you'll get to them. It's no guarantee. For most of y'all, ain't going to get to $1 million in your 401k. But if you want that, I'm just going to use a round number. Let's say you could get net $400 a month on a property, right? So if you had 10 of those or 12 of those, that's $40,000-$60,000 a year, and you've got leverage to do it. See, to me, that's a more realistic retirement plan. Is it possible for them to buy 2 houses a year for the next 5 years, or 1 house a year for the next 10 years as their game plan?
So what I tell people is to just buy 1 duplex a year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if you look at it, if you're not aggressive, if you're not a mogul, if you just add 1 to portfolio a year, by the time next 20 years come, you got 40 doors, the mortgages are beginning to fall off. You're making, $10,000-$15,000 depending on your debt, and a month in income. And
month. Hear that now.
A month. Okay. A month.
Non-correlated with the stock market. Okay.
Not correlated with the stock market. I don't encourage anyone to quit their job. My thing is to just, at the very beginning, first of all, stop buying stuff, period, right? Just stop buying stuff. Like whatever you don't need, put it back. You don't need it, first thing. Mm-hmm. And then once you do that, add $2,000 a month to your bottom line. When I was doing mortgages and I was pulling credit, like the worst I would see, people would be in debt like 30 grand. I wouldn't see like hundreds of thousands. Like I saw student loans. Mm-hmm. Right? If you to like personal debt, the worst that I saw was like 30 grand. If you stop buying stuff and then add $2,000 a month of income, you could be debt free in a year and a half, and life gets real easy at that point. Mm-hmm. And then once you're doing that, imagine what will happen if you're investing $2,000 a month, whether you're investing like through a life insurance policy, through real estate, if you're into stocks, do stock, whatever that vessel is. Yeah. You have $2,000 a month that does not come from your paycheck for you to invest. So what I tell people, I know real estate. I don't tell you invest in anything else. I can't tell you how to invest in everything else. I can tell you how to make $1 million in real estate.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah.
So I can show others how to do it. Yeah. I do other things, but I'm not an expert in those things, so I don't do it. But to bring it all home, like I said, if you just buy 1 duplex a year for 20 years, said you got 40 doors.
I want to do a lesson on that. Okay. Because that's kind of like, I want to take people and give them targets. Like I teach our clients to set quarterly targets. Like, can you acquire a house every 2 quarters or every quarter, or at least try for it? Or if they're in business, what are you doing to grow your revenue every quarter, so that, and instead of this is my year, my operating system is a great book called The 12-Week Year. And so every 12 weeks is a year for me. So I'm working on goals, personal development goals, business goals. And one of the things is that to do what Malik does, you have to change your operating system, right? You have to, like, we both live in what I call and I got this from Dan Sullivan, the performance economy, right? And so you can't most people there's two types of people in the world: work processors and work creators. And so we're not saying you need to leave your job. In fact, your job is going to help you get your first 10 properties, right? And but you've got to be a work creator. So having the discipline to be a private investigator to find the deals every day, you've got to allocate. So you got to schedule the work. It ain't gonna find you, or you've got systems that'll start to bring it to you, but you got to analyze it. So talk to them about, until I'm talking too much, but talk to them about how you think about that and how they should begin. I know you're going to go into some more detail later, but how they should begin to structure their time if they're thinking about, having a side hustle and real estate being their side hustle.
So real estate is a jealous girlfriend. Is really, if you put time into her, it should be amazing. If you don't, it should be bad, right? And so you can do okay. Don't be wrong, you can do okay part-time, but like I said, so the way that I do it, I don't have to.
So far we've talked about sex and jealous girls, in this
right. There you go. Right.
My type of podcast. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, right. So I'll just pull a curtain back, right? I'll tell you when I had the most success before I had help. I was working, I was hitting the phones, and my favorite thing is the phones, right? From 8 a.m. until about noon, and then again from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. When I started doing that, it was the first year I hit 6 figures in my business, right? When I started to do that. And then I kind of scaled it up from there. And so what I do now is I actually hire a service that I'm affiliated with. It's called clutchisa.com. And what those are is they are appointment setters. So now all I do, I get an email. I let them do all the work for me. I personally, I don't do anything but tell them who to call. They make all my appointments. I have an appointment today at 1:30 for a property on 33rd Street. I don't know. That's just 2 blocks from Drexel's campus, where the guy only wants 270. A house tutor down sold for 460 last year. So I'm sure he's going to need some work. But I got this opportunity from using clutchisa.com. Like that's a part of my system is using them. And like I said, I can put a curtain back. I'm not trying to hide anything from anybody. I'm very transparent. I'll give you all the tools that I use, and it's easy for me to do that because one of my favorite quotes that I actually put in the book is by Stevie Wonder, right? And Stevie Wonder said, "It ain't the toys, it's the noise," meaning that I can give you all the tools. It doesn't matter if you don't know how to put them together and to develop a system that works. And I also don't believe in competition because if you are in Philly, like I said, it's 40,000 vacant parcels. I'm not buying them all. I'm buying a few every year. It's plenty. So I don't have to hide anything. I'm very transparent.
See, right? That's interesting because that's a lot of people suffer. I can't tell you that because I'm buying there, and I have to fight. Sometimes I fight that, but what happens is scarcity thinking, which is most people suffer from, keeps you stuck, right? And so Malik has a prosperity mindset, which he understands that there's more than enough for everybody to have more than enough, right?
Everyone can have a life of abundance. Get everybody, all of us can be millionaires in Philadelphia alone.
Yeah. And so we don't operate from abundance. So what happens is, not to go politically, a lot of our leaders operate from scarcity because their winning is why you're losing. Okay. But if you learn the rules to this game, you could win. And so their winning doesn't keep you from losing. So I can't stand that. I was on an interview with some radio show in Atlanta, and she started out with, they're millionaires and billionaires are getting richer, blah, 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 blah. And I go, what's wrong with that? How does that keep you from winning? Just explain that to me, right? Because if you think that now you're stuck because somebody else is controlling whether you can be successful or not.
Right. So
and I can't stand that
like
conversation.
Listen, without the one over here, it's funny to hear people complaining about capitalism, but they're typing on Instagram from their iPhone after they just completed their Amazon order.
Right. All the fruits of capitalism. All right. And so here's the thing. Capitalism, let's give a definition, is where's my def from F.A. Hayek, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, an ever expanding system of cooperation among strangers is one definition, right? It's just an economic system, but where we're out in the marketplace, because the only way to make money in capitalism is to create value for another person, right? And so I always tell people the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money to spend, right? And so wealth has to be created for it can be redistributed. So I'm not gonna go there. Right. So
bring it back home.
Right. You hit certain buttons. So I was like, all right.
So what I'm doing right here is I show people, even though I'm not a believer, I'm not a subscriber to everybody needs some extremes thing. I think that you need one river with branches, right? And so what I'm trying to show you guys is to give people a river, right? That river starts with how to find the deal, right? The river can become there. The most difficult part of this business is finding the deal. The second most difficult part is the contractor. But once you find the deal, you can make a mistake on the contractor and you can still make money, right? Because you're buying right. You're not paying a wholesaler $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, which could be in your pocket. What I'm telling you is if you find the deals, then you can be the wholesaler. And if you don't want to wholesale that property, then you have to decide whether you want to renovate and resell that property or whether you want to keep that property in your own portfolio. So with this one system, I'm giving you 3 different ways to make money, right? And then say you find a property that you don't want, then you wholesale that property, you take that money, and that money will offset your cost basis when you do buy your next property, your next rental, or you can use that money to put back into the business and scale up your marketing even better, and even bigger, and find even more opportunities. Or you stack the money. So when you find a bigger opportunity, you need a bigger nut, and then you have this stockpile back here. But notice, in none of those scenarios that I say spend the money.
Yeah,
it's always reinvested money, but when to reinvest it? You reinvest it immediately, or do you reinvest it later? But either way, the money gets reinvested.
So you view marketing as a cost or as an investment?
It's 100% an investment.
100% investment. So it doesn't go, I got to be these postcards. That's not a cost. That's once you know what your average, what is the numbers you need to know? What's your average? What do you make? What's a lead worth to you?
Right. So it's important, right? No, 100%. You have to find out, like, okay, if I spend X this month, how many? If I spend this, right, whatever market you're in, how many leads am I going to get, right? Or how many appointments are going to be set if I spend this? If I spend more, am I going to get more appointments, or is it going to be about the same? And depending on what market you in, like Philly, if I spend more, I'll get more appointments. If I'm in like Chattanooga, if I spend more, I'm not going to make a smaller market, right? It's not really going to matter as much, right? And so, how many appointments am I going to get? And then out of the appointments I get, how many are going to convert into a deal, a contract, whether it's a contract for you to sell or you to buy or whatever. So, me, like, let's say for instance, right, for, very transparent, everything that I spend, I'm right around $45,000 or $46,000 a year in marketing, So I'm not even the biggest guy out there. I know people that spend like a thousand or $1,500 a week. So I'm nowhere near the biggest, right? So I'm spending like $46,000 a year in marketing, but I know that I'm going to make that off of one or two deals. Like as far as wholesale, like this year alone, I did 3 flips. Each one of those flips, I made over $100,000 on. You know what I'm saying? And just those 3. So I know that I don't care about spending $40,000. That's one deal. It's a half a deal.
Right. Because think about this. This is why I tell people your number one asset is you, right? So what name an asset class where you, and this is why I like business, right? Also, because this is really 2 parts to the 4 asset classes is business, real estate, paper, and commodities, right? So Malik, among other things, has real estate as an investment in cash flow, but he has a real estate business, right? So he invested 40,000. So if he just bless you made 80,000, that's 100% return, isn't it? Because you double your money, right? So you name me a mutual fund where you could do that. Okay, now you got to learn how to do that. That's why I say you got to invest in yourself. But if you're willing, so if you're listening to this, you got to be willing to do that type of work to learn how to, be in control of your life. But if you're willing to do that, then here's your coach right here, right? Keep going.
Once again, but like I said, but I tell people, I don't like to sell these big numbers and glitz and glamour. One, I stopped talking big numbers because people don't really believe you all the time. When I bring it down to like, let me show you how to make 2, 3, 4,000 a month, people believe that. And it might even be a self-esteem thing because I've suffered it before. Like I was a person that I used to always say, I want to be rich. I want to have all this money, but as I got older, I realized I didn't believe it because my behaviors said I didn't believe it. If I really believed it, I would have put in work in to be this wealthy person or to be a rich person. But when I'm falling back and I'm going to the club and I'm at Waffle House at 2 a.m. and I'm doing these things that are not revenue generating, then I didn't really believe that I was making. Something happened to I got my camera over here. It was like it.
Okay, your camera popped out. There you go.
Okay. I had to change to my webcam. Maybe it's not plugged up. I got my I was using my my DSLR as a webcam.
Okay.
But so I didn't really believe it, right? It's like my behaviors were not that of someone that believed that they were going to be wealthy.
Yeah, I mean it's because I'll ask people, look, do you want to be rich, poor, or middle class? And they look at me, duh, I want to be rich. Okay, well, based upon your behavior, your financial statements, and how you manage your money, I don't see any evidence of that. Okay, and you gotta. That's why you gotta follow the way. I did a video. If you'll check out my YouTube channel on the people talk about the 2% and 98% and the wealth gap, but what I broke down, I said there's a behavior gap that causes the wealth gap. Okay. And so you need to look at I see the behavior. I mean, and so because I study human behavior, you got to study people with money. There's a book, Think and Grow Rich, Laws of Success, the 10X rules, Grant Cardone, and you got to see the success secrets of Black millionaires.
Hey, listen, I need you for now on when you go over books. You got to add Mud to Millions, man. You can't mention any other book without
what is it?
Mud to Millions.
Mud to Millions. You told me that. Yes, Mud to Millions.
Yeah, you can't. We gotta listen. Every time we have a conversation, if it's a book mentioned, Mud to Millions has to be in the conversation.
Okay, hold it. I am getting my tablet so that I can order it right now. So I don't play that.
Yeah, listen. Aisha Selden is a gem to the world. I'm and from out of Philadelphia, amazing person, and her book is special and is just as good or better than any of the other books that you just mentioned. And I think everybody needs to own Mud to Millions. Now, but that being said, man, it's like, I tell people like you got to get the BMW, and that's cool, but if you need to finance this building for $500,000 that you can make $200,000 on, that's an income ratio going to be good, or is that BMW keeping you from being wealthy? Is looking wealthy keeping you from being wealthy?
Right. And most of the time, yeah, because we have a skewed, we want to show off for people that we don't like, that we don't, and it's or you have these Instagram millionaires, fronting, and it probably do have. What about old companies? And the guy came over from Shir Salim and took over the company, and people would do, because it's kind of like network marketing meets insurance. So if I named it, you know what I'm talking about. But they would do house tours and have buses to come tour their house. You're like, his name was Joe Palmieri. Joe, when are you gonna do the house tour? I got a nice house, but it's not I don't need to tour it. I mean, y'all are showing off with what kind of car you drive, Joe? He says, listen, y'all worry about the wrong stuff. He says, listen, that's not wealth. Okay. I says, if you want to see wealthy, come look at my financial statements. Okay. And so that reads like a book. So that's impressive. Houses ain't impressive. You know what I mean? And that stuff, I was like 28-ish. That made a huge impression on me, and, stop focus on fronting on people. Just, you can be the stealth. I don't want to be famous. I just want to be rich. Right. And, and be incognito and do what I want to do. I don't want paparazzi. And I think that, we've got to keep it, but it's not just getting rich so you can go buy a bunch of stuff. It says in the Bible, a wise man leaves inheritance for his children's children. So one of the big things that we talk about is legacy. I always tell people, look, what my goal is to take you, and it's from a book. So Money Millions, go get Money Millions. But my other favorite book is Money for Life on the banking thing. But the end of the movie is freedom from debt to others, consumer debt, ready cash where you need it. Most people are too illiquid. Passive income, he says in the book, that you don't have to work for and you can't outlive. I like to adjust that. I like saying asset-based income is a better, more accurate term, right? Because you build assets that throw off cash flow, and a legacy of wealth, but most importantly, the wisdom to go along with that wealth. This is the conversation. There's a lot of ways to get there. There's a lot of asset classes to invest in, but I think ultimately what we've got to do is to build, a foundation that, solid. I call it a fortress balance sheet, to steal from Jamie Dimon, a fortress balance sheet. The Practical Wealth Fortress balance sheet. So I'm going to trademark that.
No, you get them to trademark it, right? So I mean, but ultimately, and once again, I really want to just bring it home. Hit this point is, I don't know your audience, right? I don't know the demographic, but personally, what I always try to push is get that $2,000, like get that extra $2,000 and make your life easy. Let me ask you this, Curtis. Now, what you say, how easy would people's life be if they didn't have any debt?
Very easy.
Very easy. Life would be easy. Life would be easy. And I'll just use myself for example. Since COVID hit, even to this point, I may have worked 300 hours since last March of 2020. And I was still able to personally, mind you, this house that I sold, they were all this year in 2021. But so in 2020, the money I was making was from my passive income that I was eating from seeds that I'd already planted. I had the privilege of staying home and watching my kids and being with my kids and playing with my kids for a year and a half before I actually had to get reactivated, off of the seeds that I planted. I could have easily gone and bought the bigger house or bought the big car and, done all of these things, but ultimately I value time more than I value things. Right. And so that's why I'm able to sit down. Right. And once again, and also my system is running for me. Somebody would call, I even turned it off for a few months because I wasn't going to go no appointments to do any business. I recommend you turn it off, but in the time of a pandemic, you probably want to, sit back, and everybody's scared and people dying and all that kind of stuff. So I took a step back. I didn't need to do any business, so I didn't do business. I just raised my kids, time period, and I am going to go back to one more thing that you're talking about staying at the job. I know this because of me when I was disgruntled at my job because I felt like I had to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go when I didn't feel like it. I had to, I was on salary, so I was staying till the late night. It was a very difficult job. It was emotionally draining. I was doing management and public housing. I've saw everything that you can imagine, and I still have PTSD from even working there.
Hmm.
So I can't even imagine with the people that actually live in public housing how they feel. I was the first on the scene of a murdered guy laid out, like his brains literally running down the door. And coming outside and seeing his kids in the car, not going what going on, and then the ambulance bringing him out, knowing he's dead, but acting like they're working on him, that his kids are crying. I've had to find multiple dead bodies in apartments. I had to be on site when people were jumping out of the 8th floor and the 16th floor of these high-rise buildings, where people fall in their apartments, he can't get up and nobody coming to check on them, and bed bugs and broad daylight shootouts. And all of this stuff going on in my job made me really appreciate my life and what I had.
Yeah.
But before, I wasn't saying I was unappreciative. I was less appreciative.
Yeah.
Until I got there. And so this is my environment that I'm in every day. When I started making more money outside of the job, it got working the job a little bit easier, like knowing that I don't have to be here. And when I quit that job, I didn't even know that I was going to be successful in real estate. I had $2,000 a month coming in from rental income. And that's my number always, because I was able to step away. I did not have an expensive lifestyle. But what I did have is $2,000 a month coming in from my tenants. Now, I did put a little bit more pressure on my tenants, like, first is coming up. You're going to have that? I'm going to need the money. I don't have a job no more.
Right.
So I did put a little bit more pressure, like, I need the bread. But make sure it's on time this month. But that $2,000 got me out of that situation where, like, when I left there, I was ill when I left there. My blood pressure was 200 over 100 when I left there. Went to the doctor. I took off for 6 weeks FMLA. Just to get my health together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got so stressed when I got a letter to come back to work, give me a start date. I'm like, bro, I can't do it. I can't go back to that job.
Mm-hmm.
So with my doctor and got an additional 6 weeks off for FMLA. And then that $2,000 that I had, I was like, you know what? I'm out. I'm leaving here. But because that $2,000 was really my lifeline, I could have went. I know 3 people at that job that had heart attacks. One of them died, and he's only 42 years old. He had a heart attack, And so I didn't want to be that person. And that $2,000, I think, literally saved my life. I honestly feel that way. And even though I'm not the healthiest, my blood pressure is controlled now. I'm nowhere near as stressed as I was, and life is just easier. Life is just different, all because I took the initiative to, like, okay, let me figure this real estate business out and let me do that. And I'm telling you, if people are there in their job, if they knew they didn't have to be there, then a lot of their anxiety from being there would go away.
Tell them about, that's perfect. I think that, most bankruptcies could have been prevented with an extra $400 a month. You know what I mean? So if you can do that and you're still working, that's money that can go to eliminate your non-preferred debt. That's money that can go to build your liquidity. Because, we teach, I want 6 to 12 months of cash flow, right? So you could be saving that and then looking for what you'll learn from Malik is I call it cash, asset, cash, right? So you're saving, you got liquidity, you look for assets to buy or build, you get new cash flow. So now you might have $2,500 a month. You're saving that, but now you've got your cash flow under control. You don't have crazy car payments. You don't have, that kind of stuff. And now you really, I always talk to people about seeing yourself like a little hedge fund, right? Or a little Berkshire Hathaway, where you're looking for stuff to deploy your capital every day, every month. And, you have a system. Malik has a system that's bringing him that mailers, calls, things are happening. So he has appointments Now you got to learn how to analyze those deals. You got to learn how to get funding. You got to learn how to manage. That's what I mean. Investing is about becoming, now about buying with the first step, because sometimes you can get a partner or whatever if you don't know how to do it. But finding the deal is the thing. You got to, have something to talk about, and you don't have to buy. You can look, because you need to learn how to know. People want to, Kiyosaki, I don't know if these numbers are true, but Kiyosaki said you look at 100 to make offers on 10 to buy one. You may have to do it like that, but by looking, you there's something to begin to understand the market. And I think people, they look at it, they're too impatient, and they look at 5 things, 6 things. I'm ready to buy something. Well, I don't know. I don't know if you've seen the whole market yet.
I've been there. I bought property just to be in the game.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to keep working. Let me buy something. And I bought something. It was a good price, but it wasn't a good property. And it didn't pan out for me. Right. But no, this whole thing is, people want to be Rick Ross today, but they didn't see Rick Ross when he was writing songs for Trina, back in the 90s. They don't want to be that Rick Ross. They want to be with the mansion. And nobody wants to build up to that point. Like this money, listen, money does not like to be lonely. It wants its friends to come with it.
Right.
Yeah. So, your money, and so if you have money, then money will bring you more money all the time.
Right. So I love that. I love that. Money will bring you more money. So as we wind down, we had a few technical difficulties, so we appreciate y'all for hanging with us. But tell them, so 2 things. You tell them how to, if they want to follow what you're doing, where's the best place to follow you? And then by the time this airs on the podcast, your event will come out. So I want you to tell them about the event, tell them about the book, and we're going to put all that in the show notes.
Okay. So where you can follow me at is mostly I'm on Instagram, real estate _coach_Carter. I'm there. I'll show, I'm everything. My family's on there. My houses that I'm renovating on there. I went to HBCU, so homecoming's on there when I go, so it's all that. How you can get more detailed information, how I find properties, thepropertypi.com. If you go there, the book is super cheap. It's only $47 to tell you how to make whatever. And I did it that cheap because, quite honestly, I would give it for free, but people don't respect free.
Right.
And they'll download it and never read it. And so $47 is just enough to make it accessible to the masses, but is high enough to keep the people that aren't serious away.
Right.
And
people they pay attention.
People pay attention. Right. Yeah. And so, but actually you also get access to a private Facebook group. Like once you buy the book, there are other people across the country that are looking for properties and doing the same thing that you're doing. And they have different strategies in different markets. And you can learn from everybody. It's not just me. Everyone is in there is in different level of experience. And so you can learn different strategies, different stuff from other people. And I also have guest speakers that come in that'll give us. Matter of fact, I'll get Curtis to come in there and do a presentation one time. And, we'll go and I like to share information. And, you get that for, 1 year for free. And you pop that in. Now, what I'm also doing on September the 13th through 17th, if you go to XL Real Estate, I'm doing a real estate accelerator. It's called Real Estate XL, and it's a 5-day online intensive accelerator. Right. So for 5 days, it's going to be in the evening, so you can still work. For 5 days, I'm going to help you guys to get all of your systems. I get everything set up and all your knowledge, everything that you need to hit the ground running. I'm going to introduce you to, how you can get, $100,000 to start. I'll introduce you to my private money lenders. I'll introduce you to my hard money lenders. I'll introduce you to my traditional banking financing. I'll show you how I buy properties, why I buy properties, because why you buy a property is important too. People don't mention that. Like, why are you buying this house is very important. All of these things. Also, how to acquire business credit should you need it. And I mean, just, how to evaluate a property, how to manage contractors, like this 5-day period. Like, we're going to give you everything that you need to be successful. in this business. Now, once again, it's 5 days. So are you going to learn everything over 5 days? No. But you will learn enough over that 5 day period to not get burnt. You learn enough over that 5 day period to make thousands of dollars extra per month. And you learn enough to begin to either buy your first property or kind of scale up to get to that 5, 10 properties, whatever you need. Like it'll be enough information to get you to that point.
Yeah, I think that I'm excited about that. I think that if you can, once you kind of, all right, here is what I want to learn how to do. You need a coach, you need a guy, you need somebody that's done it, and can kind of give you the stuff you don't even know that you don't know yet, right? And you kind of get in the game and take some action. But even with the book, you need community, because the people don't know how to do this, so you need to get a community of like-minded people that if you say, oh, I want 10 houses in the next 5 years, oh, that's crazy, you can't do that. But if you're in a community where people are doing that, yeah, you can. We've done that, and this is how. Or you talk to Malik, all right, here in the next 18 months you could develop, or 24 months you could develop an extra $2,000 a month, and that will give you the cushion to save. And we can get you, my goal for people is to get them out the rat race in 10 years or less, right? And you can't do that with equities. You know what I mean? You have to emphasize cash flow, and that's that. So we have a lot of similar. So you could teach all the stuff I want them to do. I don't want to do that. I want to put them. I want to introduce them to you and let you do that.
No, let's do it. And the thing is, and I have a community, right? Because I can take all the phone calls, or I can take all the emails, but we have this group of people that have all different level of experience, and they can answer the questions faster than I could get to them. Yeah. And I know they know what they're doing. Like one of our guys made $16,000 last month, and he works for a cleaning company. His day job, he makes $11 an hour, but he made $16,000 part time.
Right.
He was and we were on a call with him last night. While he was at work overnight cleaning offices.
Right. Wow. Yeah. I mean, Jim Rohn says wages make you a living, profits make you a fortune. He says profits are better than wages, right? So what we've got to do is work on our profits. You work on your profits on your lunch break, after work, before you go to work, and on the weekends. And then when you feel comfortable that you can make money, if you care. I got a nurse I'm working with who probably needs to do this, but she loves her job. She makes good money, but she needs another, $4,000 or $5,000 a month, $2,000 a month to make her feel better.
Nurses spend so much money, man. I know a lot of nurses. They lifestyle is, extravagant. Like nurses like my favorite target, man. It's like they have the ability to really be wealthy. And the even most beautiful thing, man, is you can be a millionaire in a couple of years. You're making 30 grand. You don't have to be making millions to make millions. You can have a job paying 30 grand.
That is a serious income shift. That's why you got to work on you, because you can't. My dad used to say, I used to be in network marketing. He says, you can make 100 grand, you can do this and that. Most people don't believe that. He says the best most people can see is maybe twice their income. So, you know what I mean? And so it's really good that you start with $2,000 a month, because that's, within the realm of what people think is possible, stretchingly possible, but possible. You know what I mean? That's not rich, but that's good extra money. That's 24 grand a year.
Right. That's great. Listen, and your job, try to ask your job for a raise of
$24,000. Right. Is there a path for me to make an additional 24,000? There's no path. Like, this is what it pays. Right.
But I'm telling you, we have realtors use this to get more listings. I have one realtor here in Philly market with Keller Williams. She got $1 million in listings 3 weeks ago. Another guy, brand new agent, got already got three appointments his very first day using it. So this is for realtors, for wholesalers, for investors.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. The system that you're going to teach them. It doesn't matter.
How to find the deal. What you do with the deal is on you. If you're a realtor, if you're going to list it, cool. If you're investor, you're going to buy it, cool. If you want to wholesale it, you're going to wholesale it. It's just finding the deal. And there's one stat, I'll leave you with this one stat. It's very important. The NAR, the National Association of Realtors, 77 of people that sell a property go with the first person they meet. You don't have to be a good salesman. You have to be the first one to the door.
You just gotta be there. You gotta be in the game.
Be the first one to the door.
Yeah, my dad used to always tell me your stores. We were in the supermarket, but he says your stores gotta be open.
That's it.
That's it. You gotta be open. You gotta show up.
But we think about that. 70% of sellers use the first person they meet.
That's fascinating. Listen, I can talk to you all day. We gotta shut it down. So guys, go, and we're gonna put these in the show notes. Make sure you follow Malik on Instagram. Check out the Practical Wealth Show. Hope you found some value in this. I'm gonna do this at least once a week where I bring on my friends, clients, and experts just to do some. I like to get stuff out there and the same day without to have the conversation, not a month later. So I like getting out. And it'll still come out a month later, but I can get out now and we can have more interaction. So that's cool. So thank you so much. And let me end.
I froze. You froze. Okay. But